Let's jar some salmon. Yeah, Bruce here. What I'm going to do today is get this salmon ready to put in jars. So what we're going to do here, we're going to be taking the scales off of the salmon and all the fins and cut the tail off. Then I'll be sectioning it to fit into jars. So anyway, I'm going to show you how Bruce jars salmon. Okay, well, as you can see, I'm just going to be scraping the scales off a little bit. This will just give you some idea of what's happening here. I'll just keep scraping them until I get most of them all. Now, some people that do their salmon, they don't even take the scales off. They can them or jar them with scales on. But I prefer to do it this way. Then I just flip it over, and we'll do the, flip it over to the other side. You can see the scales come off really easy. Certain times of year when the salmon go up the rivers, the scales seem to come off automatically. I'm going to take off all the little fins. We don't want those in there. I'm going to grab another knife. Of course, the most important thing to this whole project is to get prepared first. As you can see, that didn't quite happen. Perfect. There's all the little goodies that I'll put those into a bag and freeze them. I'm gonna slice the tail off. We don't need the tail. The salmon is now ready to be chopped into pieces that fit the jar. So we'll move on to the next step. Here are the jars that we're going to be, or I'm going to be jarring the salmon in, and as you can see, they have a screw-on lid, and this is your little seal lid top that seals the jar. So this would go on here, like this, and down over. But the first thing you want to do is rub your finger around the jar, make sure there's no nicks in the glass, because you want a proper seal. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put these jars in some water. I'll just give the jars a little bit of a rinse here. Okay, these are the lids that we're going to use that seal. You can see them, the name of them there, and this is what they look like when you take them out. You turn them over, you can see the seal around there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to boil these lids in water for about 10 minutes before I put them onto the jars, just to sterilize them. So that's the whole secret here, is to keep everything clean. Okay, what I'm going to do is chop up the salmon out and put it into the jars. This is how I measure. I don't know if you can see that or not. But I try to leave a little bit of an airspace there. You don't want it packed right to the top. You just need, probably an inch or less from the very top, and then I just cut a slice off like that. It's already measured. There it is. Now what I do is instead of having the block showing all the time, I just cut it here. Cut it here, like that, and then I flip it around so that when it goes in the jar, all you see is a nice, beautiful pink. This is Sockeye Salmon. British Columbia is known for its large runs of Sockeye Salmon. So this is what we're going to put into the jars. 7 or 8 more to go. So there, the lids are boiling. You can see they're boiling there. And they'll be sterilized and ready to put on the jars. Okay, so we're going to put put the half a teaspoon of salt in each jar. That one's already done. I showed that earlier. So I'll just put a quarter on that one because it's half a one. But as you can see, coarse salt, not table salt. Perfect. Now we can go along and put the vinegar in also. Oops, yeah, I might have doubled up on that one. Oh well, it'll be real soft. Perfect. So there's the salt and the vinegar. Now what I'm going to do is take a little bit of cooking oil. I could use vinegar, but I'm just going to take a little bit of the cooking oil and wipe around the perimeter of the edge of the jar. You can see it's picking up residue, but that'll clean it, and we'll get a proper seal. There. Now we're ready to put the lids on. Now, as you can see, I set the lids on. These lids, when you're done with this, after you eat your salmon, use a jar of salmon, what you want to do is throw these lids away. You don't want to reuse them. So you just put them on there like that, a little twist. Don't have to give it a twist, that's just me being silly, I guess. Now, the rings go on. You don't throw those away. You can reuse those all the time. And all you do is you just screw them down. You screw them down to just so you don't over tighten them, is what I'm trying to say. Just bring them down snug like that. Because what will happen when they seal, they'll be loose. And you can leave them on or take them off, whatever you want to do. I tend to take them off when I store my jars, but some people, for some reason, they like to leave them on. I wouldn't say that makes any difference, but look at that. These are ready to go into the pressure cooker. You don't have to use a pressure cooker, I do. You can use a canner container. And the problem is with the canner container, you have to cook them a lot longer. I think something like 4 hours. And I can do these in 100 minutes. So we'll get set up now for the pressure cooker. Okay, I'm going to load the pressure cooker. As you can see, I've put about, I don't know, 3 inches, 2 or 3 inches of water in there. Cold water. I tried it once. I heated the water up. And then I put the jars in, and the jars did crack. One of the jars cracked and broke. So you put cold water, then you just place them in there. I used 2 salmon, so actually I got 8.5 jars out of the 2 salmon, which I thought was pretty cool. So there's the pressure cooker, loaded. I'm going to add a little more water because there doesn't seem to be quite enough water in there, and put it on the stove and let it do its thing. I won't give you any instructions on pressure cooking. That is something that if you're going to do that, you'll find the instructions in the manuals. Well, there's the pressure cooker. I'm using 10 pounds of pressure, and this will go for about 1.5 hours. We'll let it cool down on its own. And then we can take the cover off and remove the jars from the pressure cooker. See you on the next step. So there we go. Well, there it is. We finished the salmon. It's all jarred and ready to be stored. You notice it's more of a pale colored pink now than it was when we first started. When we first put it in the jars, it was really red. But anyway, the little bit of gray you see is fat. That's the oil that's in the fish. That's good. That's all good. Now, my suggestion is to take your finger and just go around and push on the lids like that to make sure they're all sealed. If one of those didn't seal properly, it wouldn't be tight. These are real tight. And if one hadn't sealed properly, you'd notice it would sort of go up and down a little bit. But once you get used to doing it, you wouldn't have to do that anymore. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.